So Square-1, it's a pretty bad event. And unless you've been living in the dark, or you're on a Cuba, you probably know what a Square-1 is. It's kind of like a 3x3, except that the faces have a weird pattern. You can't turn in some places, and sometimes it has a black side. Oh yeah, and it also shapeshifts. Okay, maybe not so similar, but you get the point. So why do I hate it so much? Well, as beginner, the least number of algorithms you have to learn to solve this is 13, which, to be honest, isn't too bad. But it's like, congratulations, you can now solve a Square-1 in 3 to 5 minutes with an 80% chance of messing up every single time you get Parity. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention? There's Parity on this cube! And if we thought Parity on a 4x4 was bad enough, on a Square-1, you need to memorize and execute a 28-move algorithm. 28 moves! And at this level, Parity can literally make yourself worse by like 15 to 20 seconds. And if you mess up the algorithm, which you have a pretty high chance of doing, you have to restart the entire solve. Not to mention how easy it is to mess up over here. I literally had to retake the scene of me doing the algorithm 13 times before I actually got a good enough shot. Also, I hate to break it to you, but you don't look nearly as cool as this guy over here. So with all of that in mind, you might wonder how people can get like so good at the Square-1. And to that I say, algorithms, baby! And speaking of algorithms, just look at the notation for Square-1. It looks nothing like a 3x3 or a 4x4. Like, all the other events have somewhat similar notation, but look at Square-1, it's literally just like slashes and brackets and numbers. And just to give you a scale of how many algorithms these guys have to memorize, I'll put an algorithm counter down over here. So for the first step of solving a Square-1, it's pretty self-explanatory. First of all, you turn the weird shape that you currently have back into a cube. Now I just want you to make a guess at how many cases there are to turn this back into a cube. Wrong, 180. Yes, I am not joking, it's 180 algorithms. Now most intermediate Square-1ers know all 180 algorithms, which is already kinda crazy, but for the advanced world-class Square-1ers, they have to know what is called CSP, or cube-shape parity. So remember that insane 28-move parity algorithm you have to memorize earlier on? So these crazy people, they go and combine the first step of solving this into a cube and solving parity into this one step called cube-shape parity. And if that sounds like some voodoo magic to you, it is! You have to memorize 360 algorithms for this step. And that's just the first step to solving this darn cube. This currently brings our algorithm count to 360 right off the bat. And that's just the first step to solving this cube. Just to wait until the end, it gets pretty crazy from here. So for our second step, we get to something known as OBL, or orienting both layers of the cube, to get from a state that looks a little like this to something that looks a bit more like this. So most people would normally do this by orienting the corners first and then the edges, which gives you a total of 7 plus 7, which is 14 algorithms just for this step. Which honestly isn't too bad. However, if you are crazy enough, some people combine both of these steps into just one big step altogether. And this has about
73
algorithms, which to be fair isn't as bad as like 360, but 73 algorithms is just 5 fewer than the total number of OLL and PLL algorithms on a 3x3 combined. Now for the final major step of solving this cube, also known as PBL, or permuting both layers. Now most intermediate solvers will do something where they permute the corners first and then the edges. Now for the permutation of the edges, some slightly less crazy people who don't want to learn CSP, cause 360 algorithms, would do something where they combine the permutation of the edges and solving parity into one step, which gives you about 98 algorithms. Yeah, that's still quite a lot. Alternatively, for edge permutation, you can just choose to learn 44 of these algorithms, but you do run the risk of getting the dreaded parity algorithm again. So in total for this step, you either have 8 plus 49 or 8 plus 98 algorithms, which gives you a total of either 57 or 106 algorithms you need to memorize. Now that might already sound like a lot, but by no means is it the most advanced method of solving this. In this world, there are some psychopaths who combine both of these steps into one big step, and if you can't tell already, this step has a lot of cases and algorithms. And I just want you to guess how many algorithms it takes to go and solve this. So you know how I said earlier that cube-shape parity needs about 360 algorithms? Oh, that is nothing compared to this. For this final step of PBL, it has a total of 967 algorithms! Now, most people who do learn PBL simplify this down a little, but at the end of the day, at the highest level, it pretty much is 967 cases that you have to know and execute. Who in the right mind would actually choose to learn 967 algorithms just to get faster at this puzzle? People these days. So to recap, a beginner only needs to know 13 algorithms, an intermediate Square-1 needs to know like 246 to 302 of them. And before I continue, just give me a second. Okay, I'm ready. And finally, a world-class Square-1er, a literal verified psychopath, needs to know 1,400 algorithms. Why would someone learn 1,400 algorithms just to get good at this puzzle? I can't get on!
This makes no sense.
And if any of you psychopaths out there who actually learn all these algorithms are watching this, do me a favor, go get some help. Yeah, I think you can see why I hate this event so much now. It's incredibly frustrating. You need to memorize a ton of algorithms to actually get good at it, and it's just a weird puzzle overall. Hang on, before you dislike or leave an angry comment below or something, hear me out. I made this event. Right now I average about 13 to 14 seconds on this, and I don't even know cube shape parity, or even full cube shape. To be fair, while it seems like a horrible event in theory because of the notation, the number of algorithms you have to learn and stuff, it's actually not so bad in practice. So what can you learn from this? If any of you who are watching don't know how to solve a Square-1 or have never solved one before, this might be the biggest mistake of your life, but go get yourself one of these and actually learn to solve it. It might not be one of the best events of all time, but it is most certainly one of the events of all time. I'm technically cubing, and thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
Oh hello, that's Technically Cubing again, and I hope you like this new type of ASMR content. Now, this would normally be the part of the video where I told you what percentage of my viewers were subscribed, but here's the thing. My percentage would be 0/0, since it's a new channel and my first video. And if you want to help me break this paradox, you should hit that big red subscribe button down below. You should just give it a press, like tap it on the head or something. Please. I'm desperate. Hi desperate, I'm dad. I just dadded myself.